10 people were killed and at least 10 others were injured when a gunman opened fire at a ballroom dance studio in Monterey Park on Saturday night, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department said. The shooting occurred in the 100 block of West Garvey Avenue at approximately 10:22 p.m., Sheriff's Captain Andrew Meyer told reporters Sunday morning. The shooting occurred on Lunar New Year's Eve about 7 miles east of downtown Los Angeles.
The gunman is a male and is still at large. There's no known motive or description of the shooter at this time. Some sources state that the gunman used a high-powered assault rifle at close range. When officers arrived on scene, they observed numerous individuals, patrons, pouring out of the location screaming. The officers made entry to the location and located additional victims, Meyer said. Firefighters pronounced 10 of the victims dead at the scene, Meyer said. At least 10 others were taken to numerous local hospitals, and their conditions range from stable to critical.
Meyer said investigators don't know whether the victims were targeted. He said it was too early to know whether the shooting was a hate crime. We will look at every angle, he said. There was no description of the weapon used other than it was a firearm, Meyer said. Seung-Won Cho, who owns a seafood barbecue restaurant on Garvey Avenue across from where the shooting happened, said 3 people rushed into his restaurant and told him to lock the door.
They said there was a man with a semi-automatic gun in the area. The shooter, they said, had multiple rounds of ammunition so that once his ammunition ran out, he reloaded, Cho said. Wong Lei, who lives nearby, said his friend had gone to the dance club that night with a few of her friends. His friend was in the bathroom when the shooting started. When she came out, she saw a gunman and 3 bodies, 2 women and 1 person who was the boss of the club, Lei said, adding that his friend escaped to his home around 11 p.m. The shooter was carrying a long gun and appeared to fire indiscriminately, his friend told him. They don't know why, so they ran, he said.
The shooting occurred near the site where tens of thousands had gathered Saturday for the start of a 2-day Lunar New Year festival, one of the largest holiday events in the region. Earlier in the day, crowds ran joint skewers and shopping for Chinese food and jewelry. Saturday's New Year festival hours were scheduled from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. Our hearts go out to those who lost loved ones tonight in our neighboring city, Monterey Park, where a mass shooting just occurred, Los Angeles City Controller Kenneth Maggio, the first Asian American to hold citywide office in LA, said on Twitter. Monterey Park's 2-day Lunar New Year festival had been scheduled to conclude on Sunday, but the day's events are canceled, out of an abundance of caution and in reverence for the victims, Monterey Park Police Chief Scott Weiss said.
The mass shooting in Monterey Park was one of the worst in modern Los Angeles County history. One of the last mass shootings of this scale happened on Christmas Eve in 2008, when a man dressed as Santa Claus entered a home in Covina armed with 5 handguns. 9 people were killed in that shooting rampage, including the gunman's former wife and her parents. The gunman took his life hours later after the shootings. Other mass shootings in California in recent memory include the massacre at a San Ysidro's McDonald's in 1984, where a gunman killed 21 people, and a terrorist attack that resulted in 14 deaths in San Bernardino in 2015. Anyone with information on the Monterey Park shooting is asked to call the LA County Sheriff's Homicide Detectives at 323-890-5500. Anonymous tips can be made by calling 800-222-8477.
See, this is why everyone hates LA. You got Killer Sanders, can't go to the Mickey D's without catching a bullet. Watching these two makes my eyes itch.